Good morning, folks. It is. Hold on a second. Get my screen pulled up here. It is Sunday, May 4th, 2025, and it is 8:47 a.m. in the morning. All right, so people addressed concerns to me within my comment section yesterday, and they're worried about things like the diet and type 2 and stuff like that. And I touched base on it a little bit. And I made friends with a fitness coach, who's been in his been on his game, And when you into fitness, you know all about diet too, because you got to in order to coach other folks, right? He's been doing it for a very long time. He's a couple years older than I am. For those of you who don't know, I am 53. I think he said he was 56. Chris, the perfect body. Chris, the fabulous body. Sorry, Chris. I was drawing a blank there for a second. But I've asked for his support a little bit because he's a little more familiar with diet and concerns than I am. Being in that space for so long. A fitness instructor. And here's the thing. A lot of doctors, if you check into it, they really don't study that much into nutrition. As far as stuff like that goes. But the fitness guys, they're the ones that know. They're the ones that really know their stuff about, nutrition and weight loss and health and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that some doctors out there, are better at than others. But overall diet and stuff like that, they say now allegedly that there's just not that much in depth on nutrition as far as what it takes to become a doctor. They're more focused on what makes you sick and how to get you well. So I suppose some may prevail in that area way more than others, but yeah, I don't think chiropractors and different things like that on the internet are children's doctors. are those people we need to be listening to for diet coaching, anyway, that's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. But let's see. Someone asked me yesterday to do a little research on Steve Jobs' fruitarian diet. So I did, and I'm looking at an overview right now. This is an AI overview, and AI, takes everything and piles all the data into a factual context. So it says Steve Jobs was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, specifically a rare form called, I can't pronounce. I'll do my best to butcher it. Neuroepidecraman. Right there. That word right there. That specific kind of tumor. All right. It says it's an islet cell tumor in 2003. While he also followed a strict fruitarian diet, his cancer was not directly caused by it. In fact, he initially declined conventional treatments. Now that's important to his death right there. It had nothing to do with his diet. He initially declined conventional treatments for his pancreatic cancer, choosing instead to pursue alternative therapies, a more restrictive and even more restrictive diet than what he was already doing. And then there's a whole lot of other information down here. It says right here about the fruitarian diet he was on. It says Steve Jobs was known for his fruitarian diet, which primarily consists of fruits, nuts, seeds, and some grain. And then it goes on to say more about his pancreatic cancer diagnosis. It says in 2003, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, a rare type called an insulin cell tumor, or, yeah, there's that word again that I can't pronounce. Those medical terms for tumors. And it says, Jobs initially delayed conventional cancer treatment, opting for alternative therapies and continuing his fruitarian diet. While his fruitarian, and it goes on to say now, no direct cause and effect. Get that? No direct cause and effect. So, you can kind of ease your concerns a little bit about it. It says, while his fruitarian diet was a prominent part of his lifestyle, there was no evidence, none, zero evidence to suggest it directly caused his cancer. And I've been throwing in some vegetables and stuff, so I'm not like no strict fruitarian or anything. Come on now. Low fat is basically what I am doing here, and I do plan on eating, lean proteins and stuff. But I'm checking out the sugar bomb right now. I'm trying to get under that 300. Trying to get under that 300, and it's a booger to do. Yeah. It even says he had delayed treatment regret. And alternative therapies. It says he explored alternative therapies like acupuncture, herbal remedies, and spiritual consultants. And then it says delayed treatment regret. He had regrets. Some reports suggest that he later regretted delaying the surgery. I bet he did. The world was a better place when he was here. I wish he would have done the right thing to begin with. And it says high survival rate. It says this typical pancreatic cancer Jobs had. An insulin cell tumor has a relatively high survival rate when caught early and treated. So there you go. And then it goes on to complications and more and more and more and more and more and more. But yeah, as far as that goes, I think we can debunk that. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good eating a few grapes in the morning, some tangerines and stuff. And then, like yesterday, I did throw in a few vegetables, and the day before that, I had peas and carrots, and I had a sweet potato. So I've been crushing the weight loss. And yes, I understand that it is calorie restrictive, but that is no different than somebody that you praise for eating 4 hamburger patties a day, patted out. 4 patted out hamburger patties a day, which equals to around 15 to 1600 calories. There's no difference in the two. There's really not a difference. If you're going to take the calorie route, that's just my game. That is just my game. That is how I always drop down the pounds. Calories, yes. That's totally me. That's what I've always said. It's all about calories and all the fasting that they talk about. But it's a little bit different on this one, and I'll explain why after this, or as I do this weigh-in and beyond. All right. Moment of truth. Come on. Dang it. So close. So close. So close. Ain't that a kick in the pants? So close to being under 300. Say, listen, that is not a loss. That's in 3 days I have accomplished to lose 10 pounds doing this sugar fast and doing the sugar diet. and I feel good. I mean, those natural foods, trust me, those natural foods, I feel good. I feel really good. Um, as far as the type 2 issues, like I said, the greasy, when I experience those pre-diabetic symptoms, that we all have when we're pre-diabetic, and not full-blown diabetic now. Not full-blown. If I was full-blown, I might be a little more concerned. But, pre-diabetic, nah, I ain't too worried about this. Especially when I do not see any blurred vision at all. In fact, my vision is as sharp as it is when I'm doing fasting, or and I've been on the carnivore and the keto diets in the past. I've done all that stuff. My vision is just as sharp as it is then. It's the overweight, the overeating, and your body, having to work extra hard to move things and do things around, which I think is what causes the blurred vision. But my stomach's going down, my weight's going down. I can see better than I've seen in a while, actually. It's freaking amazing, kind of. I'm sitting back here reading this computer, and usually all of that's blurry to me. Reading to you about Steve Jobs and your concerns, that I'm addressing, I don't think you have to be too concerned. He done that as a lifestyle. I'm not planning on doing this as a lifestyle. Cole Robinson had a good video yesterday that I will link down in the description. Well, not down in the description. I will post a comment and link his video he put out yesterday. It's a weapon. This is a weapon for weight loss, is what it is. And he says, you can enjoy, your little holiday and a cheat meal, once or twice a week, and you have this to fall back on, and you can maintain with this and stuff. I agree with those sentiments. It's pretty easy, actually. It's kind of like, for those of you who've been around my channel a long time, I've done a lot of different type of intermittent fasting, like alternate day fasting. I'd lost up to 80 pounds on the channel at one time, but the thing of it is, you just can't fast forever. You just can't fast forever, and you got to have something to fall back on. Something to fall back on. I mean, there's a lot of people on the low carbs and carnivore diets out there. I mean, real people, that are actually struggling with weight loss. And I'll give you an example. My father and me, we can't be more different than one another. I'm not quite sure of his height. I am 6'3", but he's good. He's it probably comes up to about my shoulders. He's probably about 5'6" or 5, probably about 5'6" or something like that. 5'7" maybe. I'm not exactly sure his height, but I may be positive he's O negative. Blood type. We can't be more different from one another than even though we're blood related like that. He's always had a super good metabolism. And he's never overeaten. I mean, he grew up in that era, with the silent. And I've experienced some of that growing up, too, as a grandchild of the silent and the greatest generations, where you were only allowed to eat 3 meals a day and no snacking in between. And if you didn't eat enough, you didn't get anything. If you didn't eat what's on your plate, you didn't get nothing else. And, you learned not to be a finicky eater back then. Because you would go hungry. And that is why the obesity rate was lower back then. Because of, those disciplines that are no longer in place. But yeah, we're different. His metabolism is great. It's great. Now, his dietary choices, fast food and stuff like that, has led him to health complications and heart. But he's not overweight. I mean, he does have a belly that he could get rid of. He does have some visceral fat that he could get rid of. He could stand to lose that, But hey, I can only control me. I do offer some advice, as we go along. Maybe if I do better and continue this pattern, maybe I'll set an example. Maybe I will. But he eats fruits and bananas and stuff, and he actually has a cardiologist that he sees on the regular, and takes medication and stuff for it. And he tells him, to cut out all the fast food. And this is the reason I had struggled with it as well, because I was raised on it. Whoppers and McDonald's and Ryan Steakhouse and all these different buffet places they had in the 80s and 90s and stuff. I was all there, And when I was younger, I moved a lot more. I walked around a lot more, and that's why I've started the walking now. The walking also helps with the lowering of blood sugar and stuff like that. I walk, folks. I walk. I watched Kayla Cox 6 miles to supper, and if you ever watch her channel, she lost her 100 pounds or 80 pounds or whatever it was by intermittent fasting and walking 6 miles a day. And she measured that 6 miles by wearing a smartwatch. Her advice was, if you couldn't get outside, to walk in the house. That's why I walk in the house when I can't get outside. When I get outside, I tear it up out there, because you actually burn more calories on uneven ground, walking on uneven ground. So I got plenty of uneven ground on this 6 acres that I live on. So, plus my uncle lives nearby, and they got another nice chunk of acreage and stuff like that. And there's different things I can do to make it fun. But I don't have to go anywhere to walk. I can just walk right here on my own property. It don't take long to get those steps in. Yeah. But here lately it's tick season. Been a lot of rain lately. If I can't walk outside, I just power walk in the house. I started off regular walking, but now I power walk. I get the heart rate up. And even though I have flip-flopped on weight consistently, here lately, since I started walking, it's been about 2.5 months ago now. I have not stopped. That's the one consistent thing that I have kept doing all this time. So I think that also helps me metabolize back down faster. When I do have gains, is because I've just got more energy, not from just the sugar diet, but also the walking has started to fix my metabolism. They say walking at just a steady pace is one of the best ways to drop fat off of your body. And even though I'm still in the 300s, I feel leaner. My waist is definitely leaner than it was. It's not nowhere near what it was. Because, wow. And also on this diet, I'm experiencing being able to eat later. Like last night, I went and had that salad at about 6 o'clock, 6:30. Usually that's a no-no for me. I usually close my window around 5 or 6, but Cole says we don't need windows in place. Just a two-man of that and that. And for some reason, when I eat, I'm not as hungry as I was. I think a lot of that is because, there's no telling how many times I've been dehydrated. I've probably been dehydrated a lot. And just eating straight fruit and vegetables gives me plenty of extra water or whatever that comes from them, liquid, that is probably keeping me from being dehydrated as much. Because, I choke down the darn diet sodas like they're going out of style. One of my favorite drinks, and I have a hard time giving them up. But I did switch to at least a caffeine-free one for now. This Diet Right. I still sneak in a Diet Pepsi every now and then, but for the most part, I've gotten pretty used to these. I feel like I don't need the energy from caffeine as much since since I started the sugar diet. But if I did, if I needed to boost the caffeine in the morning, I'd drink a cup of coffee. I see that Chris the Fabulous Body does that every morning. He does his coffee talks. I enjoy his coffee talks. I'll also leave a link to his channel down in the description. I think he's a fabulous guy. I really like the messages that he puts out. He's very positive, and he does things a little different than Cole. And then there's also the Mark Smelly Bell is another one that you can go to. He's like way up there like Cole in subscriptions and things. He's got a lot of advice, too. Maybe I'll leave a link to his channel. All three of those, I'll just leave a link to all three of those channels, and those are the closest things to what I'm doing. And you find out different information and nutrition from some of them as well, and what's working for them, because they are actually following it as well and doing. Hey, they're doing better than me. I mean, these guys are in shape, man. I got my work cut out for me, because I ain't. But hey, listen. It's not about me being in shape, it's about me improving. The quicker I can get rid of this, that's what worries me more about having a heart attack or a stroke than eating some fruit and vegetables at the moment. Because this right here, that visceral fat, that's what'll kill you. That's what scares me the most. And yeah, that's what I want gone. I'm gonna try to get that gone as quickly as I can. Alright, folks, I'm gonna end this here. That's all I got for now. Hope you enjoyed the win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope this eases some of your concerns and answers some of your questions. If not, maybe I'll be able to direct you to some information very soon that will be a little more helpful than even what I've just put out for you right now. Well, that's all I got for this one. So until the next one, you folks have a good one.